Hello and welcome. I'm Tom Sinclair, your streaming idiot for today. Actually, I'm probably your streaming idiot for any day. But anyway, delighted to be here with you today. I think it's going to be a really interesting show. As usual, I am woefully unprepared. But I did make a lot of changes to the studio last night and this morning, so we'll just have to see if they work. It will be interesting to be sure. I've got a special guest in the studio today. Actually, it's an in-studio guest, which is a rarity on this show, and we'll get to that guest in just a minute. But full disclosure, we may as well knock this out right here at the beginning of the show. I am what would be the right word? I guess approved, authorized. Anyway, I'm a reseller for VidBlaster and vMix and Magewell and PTZ Optics and a bunch of other stuff that we have now put into a store. And the store is here on our website, easternshorebroadcasting.com, in the shop section. We're gradually migrating things out of the products and what was the other thing? Products and services. And we're migrating all of that stuff into the store and then adding a bunch of other stuff. The idea is that we can give you products, software, hardware, combinations of the two bundles that I know personally work and work well. And if you buy them from me, you get me with them. I mean, I don't come to your house. Your wife wouldn't like that. But, well, she might, but that's a whole different ballgame. We're not going there. Anyway, I'm a good guest. But I come to your house virtually and help you put all this stuff together if you need it. If you love to tinker and make it work on your own, that's great. But what I've done is I've taken things like the Magewell card and I've bundled it together with vMix and given a discount on the two of them. I've taken the Magewell card. I can't tell you about that one yet. Okay, anyway, I've got a super secret thing coming up in the next week or two where we've done, I can't even tell you that. Oh, gosh. This non-disclosure agreement that I've made with myself is just really tough. Anyway, okay. I do want to say, for those of you that are watching live today, we're going to put a special promo code in chat for you to use in the store if you choose to. And I think it's good forever. Well, lifetime, let me put it that way. Yours or mine, whichever comes first. But the promo code is good for a discount on the vMix products, just the software, not the bundles. So we'll be putting that into the chat here in just a minute for those of you that are watching live. Now, that's just incentive. We'll try to do this a lot. It's just for those of you that can watch live or maybe had to make sacrifices, miss lunch or something like that. We just wanted to give you a little thanks, and it's a pretty good promo code. Pretty good promo code. For those of you that are on our mailing list, and you can get on our mailing list by going over to our email sign up right over here. And we'll be mailing out a code to y'all tonight or tomorrow, just for being on the mailing list as a thank you and as a way of introducing the store. So that's it. That's all. I think that's all the disclosure we need. Isn't that all the disclosure? Okay. All right. I've got my legal counsel over here to the side. Oh, interesting. Look what showed up right over here. I guess it's stuff that has reflections. Let's see if I can get rid of it. Some products I was testing earlier that I never finished putting away back into their boxes, either for storage or for future use. So our guest today, we got to tell you about our guest today. Our guest today in the studio, live and in person, is none other than, Mr. Magewell has come back to visit again this week. He is a 2-port SDI capture card with loopback, not to be confused for those that don't have loopback. Now, what is loopback? Well, loopback basically allows you to monitor. Let me go back to that shot for just a second. Loopback allows you to monitor what's on the loopback channel. So we're going to zoom in on that photo for just a second, and let me make the loopback channel right over here in the middle so you can see. And if you see that little threaded fastener there, right below the top SDI port, that's the loopback channel, and it's really pretty cool the way it works. And since we're talking about that, we'll just sort of start there. The loopback channel connects to, and this actually comes with the unit, connects to a loopback cable. And the loopback, as Martin is saying, that it's the same thing as pass-through. You can't really add anything to it. It's not an exterior, it's not an excuse me, it's not sort of any kind of connector that will allow you to export video. It only just mirrors whatever's coming in on that SDI channel. But it's really cool, I think, in that it has a screw-on connector. So none of these clips that might fall off or get joggled somehow. And it comes with 2 of those little wire dealies. And those little wire dealies, let's see, let's go here. They're about, what is that, about 12 inches long? Yeah, that's about 12 inches long. And it's got the little screw guy on the one end. Kind of looks like a miniature coax cable, because it's got a little nub coming up in the middle, and then you screw it right on that end. I screwed it on hand tight, and that seemed to be good, but my guess is you could probably crank down on it if you wanted to. I certainly wouldn't crank down on it too hard. And then on the other end of the loopback cable is an SDI connector. Now this SDI connector is I guess you would call it the male. It's the male connector, and so it slips into the female. The female is the one that kind of pivots and has the locks on it. This just has the little nubs, so that it attaches to the female cable. And it's 12 inches, so it's long enough to just get away from the card a little bit and give you some flexibility. It's a good flexible cable, so it will plug in. And what I did is I plugged this into an SDI cable, and then I plugged the SDI cable into an SDI to HDMI converter, and then I plugged that into my monitor, which has HDMI, so that I could see that it worked. Now, if you have SDI monitors, you don't need to jump through those loops. And if you don't have SDI monitors and you have HDMI monitors, remember that it matters which direction this signal is going. You can't use an HDMI to SDI mini converter and run it backwards. It's not like an audio cable or a VGA cable or something like that in that sense. It's not going to make that conversion backwards. So if you've got a HDMI to SDI converter box, you can't use that in this way. So I actually had to get a SDI to HDMI converter. And as to whether it carries the audio signal with it or not, I couldn't tell you. You'll have to look that one up. Martin is correcting me once again. They're called BNC connectors, of course. I knew that. Didn't I? Yeah, I knew that. Anyway, so that's Loopback. Loopback's pretty cool. Let's show another thing about this little card that I think is cool. Again, 2 ports SDI with 2 ports Loopback. One of the things, I don't know if you can see it in that shot. I tried to get it in one of the shots. Maybe this is the shot. Oh yeah, here we go. And as Magewell is doing, you can see there that Magewell has, and we'll zoom in on it a little bit, has marked the card. So you can see you've got N number 1 there at the top and LB number 1, that would be loopback, and then N number 2 kind of towards the bottom, and then LB2 all the way at the bottom. So Magewell has done us some favors and marked these cards. Now, if I were installing them and in a PC and I had to refer to it with any degree of regularity, I suspect that I would probably get a Sharpie or something like that and just go in and, you know, kind of fill in where it's been stamped so that it's a little easier to see. It's not very easy to see, but hey, it's there. It's there. That I remember, what was it? It was a Blackmagic Quad that I was looking at, and the Blackmagic Quad, of course, has 4 inputs and 4 outputs, and then a signal control of some kind. So it has 9 little connectors. And how many of them are marked? Yes, nada, none. And so it was a matter of trial and error. Or you could go to the diagram in the manual if you weren't out in the field and, you know, didn't have one on your phone. Anyway, that was the story. So this is a big improvement, I just think, in overall functionality. And you know, the other thing it shows, I think it shows courtesy to you and I as the user. It's like, you know, it takes them an extra 10 seconds per card to stamp that on there. And, you know, I'm sure there's some cost, but I'm sure they roll that cost onto us too. But it says, hey, we're thinking about you. We want our card to be as easy to use as possible. And so little things like that make all the difference to me. Let's see. Let's take another look here. It is a PCI Express 2.0 card, and you can see there what I think that's about 4 lanes of PCIe right there. It does have, where's a good shot of it? I think we've got a good shot of it here. Yeah, here we go. It does have mounting brackets or mounting holes there in the end of the card if you've got brackets that would line up with that. It's got, oh, and this is one of the things I love. Right there, it's got the switch, and it can identify which card. So if you've got multiple cards, now I don't know why you would have more than one 2-port card, because I guess maybe you'd start with one and then add a second one because you didn't want to go with a 4-port card to begin with. But you can tell the card which card it is. Is this card number 1, card number 2? You can do that right there. The build, the physical build, really does look secure. I didn't see any signs of anything that looked like it might be a bad solder joint. The connectors there are very firmly mounted, so we're not worried about wearing this guy out by plugging him and unplugging him, you know, which is always one of the concerns when we talk about HDMI, because, you know, you're going to be able to plug it and unplug it a bunch of times without having it fail. And I've got a couple of, you know, my good old Canon Vixias here in the studio. Sometimes you have to wedge the cable up for the HDMI to make good connection. So, you know, we're applauding, again, good, firm craftsmanship. Let's see what else. Oh, I know something else that's kind of interesting. If you've got a Lowrider PC, it does come with a Lowrider Bracket. So you can install it in a low-rise system if you've got that. And let's see. I'm going to queue up this video that I shot earlier that I think is going to be kind of interesting. It is, let me tell you a little bit about it before I show it to you. Basically, it's nothing fancy. I'm using my phone, but I wanted to show you what the loopback setup was, and also you'll see a couple of little things in there that might interest you. So let me cue that guy up here, and we'll take a look. Make sure I got some volume on it. Yeah, I think we're good. All right, let's take a look. All right, we're taking a look at this Magewell dual SDI PCIe card, and yeah, that is a laptop right there, and the card is actually installed right back here. We'll talk some more about the little silver box there later.
You can see the SDI cable on the left going out to the camera, and that little mini SDI cable on the right going out to the monitor. So that gives me the ability to monitor, yep, there's me, monitor that cam up there. That's on the monitor, and then this is running through vMix. And what's really interesting is the loopback, which is the little teeny weeny SDI cable right there, is immediate, no lag. It's really cool. But you've got a, I don't know, a frame or two lag on vMix, and that's going to be true with anything. That's just the nature of the beast. So SDI 2-port capture with loopback is pretty cool, pretty cool. So really, that, I mean, you know, I plugged it in and it worked. I mean, yeah, how much better can you get than that? You plug it in and it works. So that's the quick and dirty on this one.
So that's the quick and dirty. The quick is essentially it's plug and play. Magewell is moving towards driverless systems. I think their USB little capture boxes are driverless. I mean, they're using the drivers that you got in Windows. The other thing that Magewell has done, and that it's a copying something that Blackmagic has done. At least it looks like copying to me, because it's the same thing. And I give Blackmagic a props on this one. But that basically they have said, okay, if you download, and this is for the Pro Capture series, I'm sure, from Magewell. If you download a driver set for the HDMI 4-port card, for example, that same driver will work with the 2-port SDI card. So one driver will work with all of their products now, at least in terms of PCIe. And this would be second generation. So it was interesting when I went to install this in my PC originally, and tried to install a driver. It said, you know, driver's already there, and that's because I'd had the 4-port HDMI card in previously. Pulled that out, put in this 2-port SDI card, and boom, there we were. So it was really pretty cool. So we've got 1080p, 60 frames a second on 2 channels. You know, the limitation is just your PC. What else? Oh, it's also our featured product. Yeah, how about that? If this card interests you, it is our featured product of the day. We will, Magewell says we cannot advertise any price that's lower than the manufacturer's suggested retail price. So we're not going to advertise a price. The price is $6.99 US, which is a little pricey for 2 ports, but they are high definition, 1080p. So if this is the card for you, if you will email me, tom@easternshorebroadcasting.com, and you don't have to be a live viewer to do this if you're watching us on YouTube. If you will send me an email, I will send you a promotional code to buy that card for a price that might be less than the manufacturer suggests. How can I say that? I can't say that. Send me an email. I'll send you back the promo code. Golly gee whiz. Okay, so anyway, that was what. How can I say this? I don't know. Anyway, so I'm a little tongue-tied here, which is a real rarity for me. Let's do this. Let's let's see if I can go back to the video and just show you a single part of it without starting it again. So let me cut over to that and see if it just stays there. Yeah, there we go. This is this little silver box, which may not be silver for long, is a Thunderbolt box, and we are going to be marketing the box with the card, the Magewell, the whole series from Magewell, and vMix as a bundle. So you'll get the vMix software, you'll get probably the 4-port capture card, either the SDI or the HDMI, and it will plug into a creature that, let's see if we can find it right there, that looks like this. And this is an Asus ROG, Republic of Gamers. Essentially, it's a gaming laptop. And it has a very powerful Asus NVIDIA video card in it, which vMix makes very good use of. And the Thunderbolt cable that you can see out there coming out the middle of the right side of it, pay no attention to those cables on the floor. The Thunderbolt cable will connect to the Thunderbolt box. Currently we're just using the Thunderbolt 1 as we kind of experiment with this, but it did 4 channels of high definition video beautifully, didn't choke down the laptop. Want to experiment in a live situation with this and the high definition instant replay. So I think it has the possibilities to be a really killer, a killer portable sports system. And you know, any situation where you would need portability, and if you can get out, in fact, I think we've already got the specs. No, I don't. I take that back because we haven't put this in the store yet. But if you're interested in this and want to be one of our first customers on this, we will offer a deep discount because we want you to give us some feedback on it. But we're not loaning these out. So if you're interested in being one of our first customers on this Thunderbolt Magewell vMix Asus deal, we'll supply everything but the laptop. You have to do your own laptop. And we've got a list of about 9 different laptops, Windows laptops that have Thunderbolt 1, 2, or 3 ports on them. But this will be, for right now, Thunderbolt 1, so it's kind of compatible with whatever laptops might be out there. This particular laptop in this shot is one that I got as a manufacturer's refurb. So it was about $500 or $600 off of list, but it comes with the brand new manufacturer's warranty. So I was as happy with it as otherwise. So that's Thunderbolt, vMix, Magewell, and then Asus BYOB. I think it's going to be good stuff. And in fact, when I was doing, well, as you saw in the video, I was testing the 2-port SDI card from Magewell in that box and did beautifully. Tested the 4-port HDMI that I've got currently set up in my production rig here. And so that's what we're producing the show with, is the HDMI portion of the Magewell line. Just, you know, bulletproof. Really couldn't be happier at this point. The 4-port HDMI and 4-port SDI cards from Magewell are $8.99. The 2-port SDI is $6.99, and I think the 2-port HDMI is either $5.99 or $6.49. It's a little bit cheaper than the SDI. Not quite sure. Oh, I bet probably because it doesn't have loopback. Well, maybe it does. We'll have to find out. And I'll try to get one in here and kind of run it through the ringer and show that to you too. All right, so we've got the, let me go back to the chat room here, and we're going to put the promo code in the chat. There's the promo code in the chat. If you are interested in our product of the day, the XI200DE SDI, or as I like to call it, hey, it's just a 2-port SDI capture card, PCIe from Magewell. Retail $6.99. Email me for a promo code. That is for those folks in the chat room. Yes, that is a discount code. And what happens is when you go to checkout on the store, it just says, do you have a code? You put the code in, it gives you the discount. That's a pretty good deal. And if you've used the store and if you had any problems, I'd love to know about it because, we're not store people. We're kind of streaming people. But the store, it seems to be working pretty well. What else we got? I guess that's about it. Still updates on coming up stuff. We're still putting together the plans for the church streaming roundtable. If you're interested in being a participant of that, kind of the minimum requirement is that you're working either as a volunteer or a paid staff member at your church and involved in streaming there. Really don't care what products you're using, whether it's a hardware switcher or a software switcher. We really want to hear about your experience and the church's experience about that. We want to get between 4 and 6 folks together to talk about this. We'll probably do an evening show, which I apologize to our European audience. You can pick us up on YouTube. We probably want to do an evening show, maybe on a Tuesday evening here in the States. So keep an eye out for that. They're saying in the chat room that the new Dell Precision will have a Thunderbolt port, and I believe that it's Thunderbolt 3. So Dell's gone straight to the throat with Thunderbolt 3. Golly gee, seems like there was some other stuff that I wanted to talk about. Not sure. And I've got some notes in the chat that I was like, what are they talking about? Oh yeah, well I'll share this funny story. This is good. Dave, who is in the chat today, we had set up a test product in the store for a penny, and I'd taken a picture of a penny and said that that this was the cost to buy this was a penny. And I bought one, used my wife's PayPal account. She didn't appreciate it. She was just ticked because I used it, not because of how much it was, but just, well, now I'm going to be off by a penny if I, because it went on to her Visa card or something like that. Anyway, it was pretty funny. And I forgot I left it up there. And then all of a sudden, I opened up my laptop one morning, was checking email, and I saw I had an order in the store. And I thought, oh, that's pretty neat. It's nice to have an order in the store. And I looked at the value of the order, and it was a penny. It was Dave. Dave wanted me to send him a penny. Well, how much is it going to cost to ship a penny from the East Coast of the United States to the West Coast of the United States? So I refunded his order. So we had a good exchange of emails about what I could do with that penny, and he said, what was the final thing was, he said, well, if I order another one, you'll have my 2 cents worth. So I thought that was pretty good. You got to get up early in the morning to beat Dave. So Dave got me on that one. I think that's about got all the things covered. Oh, I know. Also coming out. Sorry about this. I forgot to write down. I put talk about what's coming up, but I didn't write down what it was. We're also going to do, and part of the reason why I've been doing so much studio work lately is I'm trying to clean the studio so that I can do a studio tour, and so that you can see physically what we're using here. Because if you want to kind of replicate this, you can. It's really pretty easy. Now, where I am today, I didn't get here. I didn't just start yesterday. I'm looking over at my shelf over there of all the equipment I've tried that didn't work. Capture cards and cables and cameras and stuff that just wasn't the right tool for the job. That's okay. That's why I'm here, is so that I can make the mistakes so that you don't have to. But I really do want to prove the point that one guy with one PC and the right setup really can do a good broadcast. And we're getting pretty close here. Somebody says, what happened to that 4-port input PCI SD card you were selling? Anderson, I'll let you know in the chat. I've got one left. What it is, if you're interested, it's an Osprey 450E standard definition, 4 ports, has little BNC connectors on the end of it, PCIe card. I think they were priced at about $800 or $900. I had 2. I've got one out on trial with somebody. They're used. I think they came to me used. I've used them, passing them on used, but I can make you a great deal on them. So Anderson, if I can send that to another country and you want it, it's yours. Just let me know. We'll just have to agree on a price. I mean, that's all there is. Agree on a price. So, okay, I think that brings us to the end of our time together. The end of our time together. One last note. Did a lot of experimenting with the show today, prior to the show and during the show. The least of which, or probably the greatest of which for me, is that normally I'm wearing earbuds, so I get to hear what's going on. Now, I can't hear what's going on in the chat. It's not that kind of chat. That would be kind of fun, though. We could just do a little audio chat that you had to be present to hear. So trying to go with a minimalist approach, what's the least you can do and have a good broadcast. And so today I'm not really listening, to any of the audio that I'm producing. And so, but I do have up where I can see it, the volume meters, so that I can hear that audio is going out there. So as we close out the show today, we've got audio that goes with that, and we'll just have to see if it works. Anyway, it was a treat to be with you today. Those of you that have hung in there to the very end on YouTube, I applaud you. Please subscribe and also sign up. Go to our website, easternshorebroadcasting.com. Sign up for exclusive video content, and we'll send you all sorts of stuff. Who knows? Probably won't be anything you use. In fact, don't even sign up. Don't even waste your time. Anyway, we'll catch you next week. Thanks for watching. Later.